Uh, oh shoot, I forgot to send you the PDF. No, I just forgot to send Amanda the PDF. Save, save. Uh, nope, I need a file. That's the master copy. I need the agenda. Did I not send you the you got a complete one? That shouldn't be complete. Then again, what do I know? Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. That's wondering why I'm like, why is this not giving me what I want? Because you are not logged into the right one, it's silly goose. Just go on web, it's just easier. Okay, we're obviously gonna be delayed because I'm getting too many people who are not understanding where to go. Okay. You, there we go. Okay. You, there we go. Well, like I said, it's the wrong one. Okay. You, well, like I said, it's the wrong one. It does. If you want to use a prerequisite, you ask for the bulletin point. So like I said, I sent you the wrong one. If you're welcome to use it if you want to. Mute that down so I can see what's going on. Copy link. And where is Okay. Okay, where is okay, where is okay, for some reason everybody thinks they're going on Zoom. It's not on Zoom. Okay. You will watch on YouTube live.
Okay, okay, YouTube Live.
Yeah, you'll be here to be able to see him later because that's
Okay.
how it will broadcast to YouTube.
Okay, okay,
So
all
only
right,
speakers who are going to be here
okay.
are on Zoom.
All right, so I need, all right, hold on.
Let me go ahead and just admit them and let them.
Okay. How do I get to the YouTube link? I need to go back to the, what's the one I need to do? Told you I wasn't tech savvy.
That's okay. It's okay. I am still trying to figure all this out. Okay. Is that it? Please tell me that's it.
Let me see here. All right. Oh, it looks like it. Yes, it is. Okay, 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 okay.
Uh, that's a video, but you should be able to just click on where it's red, where it's highlighting red, where it says
Okay.
live.
Okay, let me see here. Millie. Mel, come here, baby.
Shirley
Yeah,
Buck is trying to get
I
in.
haven't shared anything.
Hi, Barb.
I mean, I'm the only one that's I mean,
There.
only anybody can see me is right now.
Okay.
Uh,
I
I think.
unmuted.
We need to
Can you
use
hear
it
me?
for the YouTube.
Yes, it's like that. Yeah, you'll need to okay, spotlight for
So
everybody.
get to
Okay.
the YouTube part. That's
Okay.
YouTube music. She said there's a red part to pick. A red part? Father, certain days a month is pretty sad.
The character of Chris Jensen will be played by James Trim.
All right, subscribe.
Sophie, hush, please. Okay. I'm sorry about the
Is that
technical
done?
delays. We are coming.
I'm gonna stop that. Should be a link.
Okay. Mm.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay, so those of you who are watching through Zoom, just know, just please keep yourself muted, because this was only supposed to be for people who are speaking. Everybody else is supposed to watch on YouTube Live. It's
Okay.
fine if you're here. I'm not gonna kick anybody off. James Chris is here. I think he's listening. I think it says he's listening though. Let me make sure that, trying to make sure everybody can hear me before. Yeah, Christine, can you hear me on the YouTube Live channel?
Okay. Hey, Mel. Come here real quick. Make sure I didn't screw anything up. Yep. All right. Make sure I get on the YouTube thing again. I have too much going on, I feel like. Oh, there we go. Oh my God.
Okay, open. Okay, close chat. Share. Copy link. Open. Back here. Dink. Thump. The joys of technology. I just shared the link in the group. You should be able to just click on it in the anniversary. Oh, Shirley. Oh, yeah, she should be in there. But if not, I'll just send it to her personally too. So case in point, I need to make sure I explain this better next time. Got it. Because I'm still figuring all this out myself. I'm trying to figure out if people can hear me or not. Oh, that's that. Okay. Okay, so Paige, you can hear me. There is a delay, so I'll have to wait a few seconds to see. If you could let me know that you are, that would be great. Because that's exactly what I'm looking for.
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Because I have that muted and everybody else is muted on it. Okay. Where is PDF? I apologize for the delay. I just got home from the hospital today and I have been running just to finish this up today because I was out most of the week. Is that the complete program? Yes, it is. All right, that's the complete program there. Hopefully this should be the same. So I really need it off the phone and not there. Yes, perfect. At least something's not. YouTube. All righty. Welcome, everybody. I'm sorry again that this is taking just a little bit. First time doing this live streaming stuff. So I apologize for that. So just a couple of, I guess, program notes. Our Master of Ceremonies, which is our Vice President, Chris Jessen, I always get his name pronounced wrong. He is on his way, but he is running a little late. And so he had the previous family obligation. So he will join us after a little while to take over the Master of Ceremonies. For now, I will leave that to my husband to take over from here. And again, welcome everybody. Honey, I will let you take off and I will mute myself for now if I can figure that out. Uh, Okay, so just that one. There we go.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is James Trim, president of P.A.R.T. USA, and I have the privilege of serving as Master of Ceremonies tonight in lieu of uh, Chris Jessen, who was originally planned for this role. I want to thank everybody for joining us through YouTube Live, and thank you to the family of members, advocates, supporters, board members, and speakers who are participating with us privately through Zoom. Tonight is a very important evening for P.A.R.T. On August 5th, 2025, P.A.R.T. Texas officially began its journey as an incorporated organization. 1 year later, we have an opportunity to look back at how that happened, recognize the people who stepped forward when there was absolutely no guarantee that any of this would work, and reflect on how quickly the mission grew beyond what anyone could have predicted. But an anniversary should not be about an organization. Organizations are names on paper. People create movements. People take risks. People give their time, something that they can never get back. People make sacrifices. People encourage one another when somebody is ready to quit. And that's happened many times. And sometimes one person does something that may seem very small at the time, only to discover later that it changed the entire direction of everything that followed. So throughout tonight's ceremony, you're going to hear about several people who have played meaningful roles in this community. Some helped P.A.R.T. Texas get started. Some have served on its board. Some have helped patients. Some have helped advocates. Some have opened doors. Some have simply refused to stop helping other people, even when doing so required sacrifice of their own. Tonight is about making sure those contributions are not overlooked. We're also going to hear from several people who have submitted personal messages, photographs, memories, and tributes. Some will speak live. Some have submitted words for us to read on their behalf, and we may have one or two people who decide to speak as the evening unfolds. For those participating through Zoom, please remain muted unless you are speaking. I will introduce each person as we move through tonight's program. And with that, I would like to begin with the person who can best explain where all this started. Please welcome the founder and executive director of P.A.R.T. Texas and P.A.R.T. USA, my wife, Ingrid Kitty Trim. Kitty, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. When we talk about the first anniversary of P.A.R.T. Texas, it would be very easy to begin with August 5th, 2025, the day that we were incorporated, the day on the paperwork. But that is not necessarily where the story actually started. For me, this started much earlier. It started with pain, my own pain. It started with learning what happens when a patient who needs medical care suddenly discovers how difficult it can be to obtain it. It started with being tapered. It started with losing access to a doctor. It started with spending approximately 2 years trying to find another doctor who would treat me. And it started with realizing that the system patients are told it's supposed to protect them and can sometimes become one of the largest barriers between them and their medical care. That experience changed the way I looked at this issue, as it has for many others. This was not somebody else's story. I was now living it. And as I became more involved, I began trying to understand how these policies were created and how we could change them. I had been around politics throughout my 36 years marriage to my husband, James Scott Trim. James had decades of experience in politics, legislation, policy, and government. So legislation itself was not foreign to me. But what I began seeing from the patient side was incredibly frustrating. I began learning just how difficult it could be to get legislation changed. I began seeing how little many lawmakers understood about what chronic pain patients were actually experiencing. And sometimes, frankly, I wonder how much some of them even cared. You could have had patients begging for help. You could have people telling lawmakers exactly what was happening. You could have legislation intended to address a serious problem. And yet, unless somebody happened to sit on the right committee, they might not virtually know anything about the issue at all. I also learned just how much power could exist in the hands of a committee chair. A bill could be important. It could have support. People could desperately need it. And one person in the right position could keep that legislation from moving. It could sit. It could die. And most ordinary people will never understand what happened to it. I found that incredibly discouraging. I kept asking myself, how do patients overcome something like this? How did ordinary people compete with a political process most of them do not even understand? I didn't understand it until I met my husband. How do we stop asking patients who are already sick and hurting somehow become experts in government just to protect their own medical care? And for a long time, I kept running into walls. Then I met Cindy Peoples McCorrell. And I probably pronounced her name wrong, and I apologize, Cindy. Cindy, I came across because she was talking about organizing people in Texas. She wanted to come together. She wanted to do something. She began talking about some ideas for how people could organize and approach the problem. And I remember listening and thinking, I've tried that. I've done that. I have gone down that road. And it did not work. And that particularly point in my life, I was just exhausted and frankly fed up. I had also just come through another painful political loss involving state banning another substance that had been helping some pain patients. I was discouraged and I was angry. And I was reaching a point where I wondered whether continuing the fight was even worth it. When I saw what Cindy was trying to do, part of me almost wanted to tell her, why bother? I have already tried those things. I've already gone down those roads. What makes us think this time will be any different? But Cindy actually surprised me. She did not become defensive. She did not tell me she knew better. She did not dismiss what I had already learned. She listened. And essentially, she asked, okay, if those things do not work, what will? How can we organize? And something about that conversation made me change my thinking for the first time in a long time. Instead of sitting here listening to everything that had failed, suddenly we were asking a different question. What have we not done? And I remember something. I began thinking differently, and that conversation created a spark. Cindy may have not realized at the time what she had done, but she helped me move from why bother to, okay, then what are we going to build? And Cindy, if you are watching tonight, this one of the reasons I told you it was important for you to be here. You helped light a spark. You were willing to listen when I had reached a point where I was ready to stop talking. And because you listened, something moved forward. And for that, we thank you. After that, I went back to my husband. James and I began looking seriously at what kind of organization could actually do what I believed needed to be done. We looked at already at what existed. We looked at nonprofit structures. We looked at advocacy organizations. And we realized that if we truly wanted to directly go into legislation, public policy, and political advocacy, we needed an organizational structure that would allow us to do that effectively. That ultimately led us to being a 501c4 model. There are many valuable 501c3 organizations. They can educate, they can provide support, they can raise awareness, they can provide services. That work is extremely necessary. But our mission was going to require significant legislation advocacy. We were not interested only in talking about what was wrong. And somewhere during all that planning, my husband gave us the name, P.A.R.T. Pain Awareness, Right to Treatment. And I still believe that name says exactly what this movement is supposed to stand for. Pain awareness matters. But awareness alone is not enough. Patients deserve the right to appropriate treatment. So on August 5th, 2025, P.A.R.T. Texas was officially incorporated and born. And then something happened almost immediately that none of us had really planned for. People outside Texas began finding us. We started receiving messages. Can you help us? Are you coming to our state? What do we do where we live? And I realized something very quickly. Texas was not the only place where patients needed help. The fear crossed the same state lines. The loss of access across state lines, the need for legislation reform across state lines. And approximately 1 month after P.A.R.T. Texas began, the idea and mission of P.A.R.T. USA was born. P.A.R.T. USA would not formally incorporate until this year of April 1st of 2026, and that is no joke. But the need for a national organization became obvious almost immediately, and that national organization grew from the foundation created right here in Texas. But none of this has happened because I simply decided one day that I wanted to start an organization. P.A.R.T. exists because people took a chance, and I do not want this anniversary to pass without properly recognizing them. These people did not join something that was already established. There was no large organization waiting for them. There was no guarantee that we would accomplish anything. There was certainly not a roadmap sitting on my desk telling us how to do all of this. They took a deep leap of faith, and they built it with us. The first person who stepped forward was Paige Engel. Paige is a former nurse who lives with CRPS herself. She understood this issue not only from a medical perspective, but also from the perspective of somebody who knows what pain can do to a person's life. And despite her own health challenges, Paige became our first person willing to take that leap of faith and help us begin creating the original P.A.R.T. of P.A.R.T. Texas. Paige, that first yes mattered more than you will ever know. Somebody had to be willing to be the first, and you were, and we cannot thank you enough. Then there is our Vice President, Melissa McVeigh. Melissa holds a master's degree in nursing and brings years of professional experience and medical knowledge to this board. And one of the things I value most about Melissa is that she questions things. She asks why. She asks whether we have considered another angle. She pushes us to think harder. She pushes us to be better. And recently, during our work involving the Texas Medical Board, Melissa's knowledge and the way she was able to put our concerns into words became incredibly important. She provided advice, she raised questions, she helped us communicate things in a way that I do not believe we would have communicated nearly as effectively without her. Melissa, your knowledge is valuable, but your willingness to challenge us to think more deeply may be even more valuable. Thank you. Teresa is our secretary. Teresa is also a former nurse. Because of her own health battles, she no longer is able to work nursing, but that experience and understanding still come into her everything she does for this organization. And Teresa, please do not ever resign, because I'm honestly not sure if we would ever be able to do this without you. She keeps us organized. She keeps our minutes. She keeps our agendas moving. She tracks our board votes. She helps make certain people know when meetings are happening. She reminds us where we are supposed to be and what we are supposed to be doing. Those are people and organizations whose works happen very publicly. And there are and then there are people doing the work behind the scenes that keeps this entire organization from falling into chaos. Teresa is one of those people. Her nursing background, her organizational skills, her reliability, and her attention to detail have been enormous assets to P.A.R.T. Texas. Teresa, thank you. And seriously, please don't ever resign. Angie Harvey. Angie serves as our social media leadership and has been involved with the pain community for many years. In fact, many of you probably know her name. Angie understands this community. She understands what patients are going through. And even while dealing with her own health battles, she continues trying to help others. She has brought people to P.A.R.T. She has helped introduce this organization to others. She has continued advocating, sharing information, and making sure people know where we are and who we are. Advocacy can become exhausting. I am certain Angie has had moments when she wanted to stop, but she kept on pushing. And that willingness to keep showing up has helped P.A.R.T become known by people who otherwise may have never found us. Angie, thank you for continuing to get our name and our mission out there. Bree Dorbecker. She serves as our advocacy chair and brings her experience as a chemical dependency counselor to the board. But Bree also has an incredible ability to communicate. She knows how to make videos very well that people actually watch and engage. They are fun, they are energetic, but underneath that energy, she gets the point across. That is a gift. Advocacy can not only consist of long reports and legislation. Somebody has to be able to research ordinary people. Somebody has to be able to make them listen. Somebody has to communicate the message in a way people will remember. And Bree brings that vibrant, important resource to this board. And once again, she has done it while dealing with the pain struggles of her own. Bree, thank you for bringing your voice, your creativity, your knowledge, and energy to P.A.R.T. Texas. I also want to recognize somebody who has helped us in the beginning, but is no longer serving on our board because of her own health circumstances. I will simply call her Marnie tonight out of respect for her privacy. Marnie was one of our founding board members and initially served as our treasurer. She helped us during the earliest days when we were still trying to figure out the basic business pieces of building an organization. She helped find the bank that P.A.R.T. Texas continues to work with today, and I remain extremely pleased with that choice. We were sorry when her health made it necessary for her to step away, but she has continued sending us her support and her love. Marnie, you were there in the beginning. That will always matter. Thank you. After Marnie left the board, Barry, and I pray to God I pronounce this right, Thistlewaite joined us. Barry has brought research, knowledge, ideas, and a perspective that is extremely valuable. He is also a caregiver to his wife, which means he understands this fight from another side that sometimes is overlooked. Pain does not only affect the patient, it affects spouses, it affects caregivers, it affects families. Barry brings that understanding with him. He is well researched and knowledgeable about issues affecting the pain community, and he is now helping lead work involving research, information on how P.A.R.T. Texas can begin engaging more effectively with state agencies in ways that improve things for Texans. Barry, thank you for giving us your research, your time, your ideas, and your willingness to take on more. And of course, there's my husband, James, our president. The man who has spent our entire marriage listening to me come up with ideas and then somehow getting talked into helping me figure out how to make them work. Yes, James brought decades of political and legislative knowledge to this organization. He helped us understand structure. He helped us understand legislation. He helped shape policy ideas, and he gave P.A.R.T. its name. But that is not the most important thing I want to say about him tonight. James, thank you for your love, your support, and your willingness to take on far more than you ever needed to simply do because you knew I needed you. Not because of your knowledge of the legislation, not because of your political experience, but because you knew how much this meant to me. You knew how deeply I cared about these patients. You knew what I was trying to build. And instead of standing back and telling me to figure it out myself, you stepped up in beside me. You have never failed to support me. You have never stopped helping me move something forward that means so much to me. And I will never, ever be able to say thank you enough for loving me exactly as I am and supporting me all the way. James, none of this would be in existence in the form it does today without you. I love you and thank you. And lastly, even though he is not part of P.A.R.T. Texas, he is very much part of P.A.R.T. USA. Our Vice President and tonight's Master of Ceremonies, when he's able to join us, Chris Jensen. Chris is an amazing person who also recently became a father. And the way he found us is actually pretty fitting on how many things seem to happen with P.A.R.T. He found us somewhere in one of those countless conversations and comments happening online and simply started asking questions. He liked what I was saying. He thought there was merit to it, what we were trying to build. So we arranged a Zoom call, and after that we talked. What we were building became even more important to him because he could see what we were trying to approach this fight was differently. Chris did not simply decide to put his name beside Part USA. He has supported this organization. He has defended it. He has become an invaluable ear when I needed someone to listen. And sometimes he is simply somebody I can talk to when this work becomes overwhelming or when I need another perspective. I do not know his wife personally, but I have to believe she is an amazing person as well. Advocacy takes time away from families. Chris has a wife and a new baby at home, and yet he still has been willing to give his time, his energy to help us fight for people he may never personally meet. So I want to recognize her too for supporting him and cheering him on while he helps us with this mission. Chris, I am honored to know you. I am grateful you found us, and I am so glad you are truly a part. Every single person I mentioned here tonight holds a very special place in my heart. They took time out of their own lives to help us build something that I believe is incredible, meaningful, and already making a difference. They gave us their knowledge, their experience, their organization, their creativity, their research, their voices, their time. And most importantly, they gave themselves. They took a chance on something that yet did not exist. They took a leap of faith, and they stood beside us while we built it. I would not be anywhere without any of them. Part Texas would not be what it is without them. And Part USA would have not had the foundation from which we grow without the work that has begun here. Every one of you has my love and my gratitude. Thank you for believing in me, and thank you for believing us build something that is already making a difference. Chris or James, I'm going to turn this back over to you.
Okay, I assume Chris is still unavailable.
No, I can hop in.
Hop in. Go ahead, Chris.
All right. Give me just a second to get
That
situated.
saves an awkward transition that would come up between you to me.
All right. Thanks, Kitty. So you guys kind of just heard of the story of how Park, Texas began and the people who were willing to take a chance on something that did not exist. But this anniversary is also an opportunity to look at what happened after that first step was taken. What did all this work produce and where this organization has gone in its first year? Perhaps even more importantly, where it's going next. In a remarkable short period of time, PART has moved beyond simply identifying problems. The organization has begun entering the places where policy is written, regulations are discussed, and lawmakers are reached. Long-term change can actually begin. To talk about what PART has accomplished and where we intend to go from here, I'd like to introduce the president of PART Texas, James Scott Trim. James, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you for chiming in so I didn't have to introduce myself. Thank you to everyone who has joined tonight. Kitty has talked about how this organization began. I want to spend a few minutes talking about what's happened after it began. Because PART Texas was never created simply so that we could put another organization's name on social media. We created it because we believed something needed to change. And I'll say we needed to do things. There were enough organizations out there framing the problem. We created it because we believed something needed to change. And from the beginning, our goal has been to move beyond simply describing what chronic pain patients are experiencing and begin working on the places where those problems can actually be addressed. One of the things I'm most proud of is just how quickly this organization has rolled up its sleeves and moved from an idea into action. PART Texas incorporated August 5th, 2025. Within roughly a month, we were already hearing from people outside Texas asking the same questions. Can you help us? Are you coming to our state? Who's fighting for the people here? It became obvious very quickly that the problems chronic pain patients were facing were not just confined to Texas. That realization eventually became PART USA. Although PART USA would not formally incorporate until April 1st of this year, the national mission began much earlier because the need was already there. And since then, we have been building legislative advocacy. One of the central priorities has been legislation. There are many ways to advocate, and all of them have value. But when the problem comes from law, regulation, government policy, or the way those policies are being interpreted, ultimately somebody has to be willing to enter the legislative process. That means learning how bills work. It means understanding committees. It means understanding who has authority. It means understanding where legislation can succeed, where it can be stopped. And it means being willing to sit across from lawmakers and explain what patients are actually experiencing. PART has been doing just that. We've worked on proposed legislative language. We've worked to identify where existing laws and policies are creating unnecessary barriers between physicians and patients. We've tried to bring solutions, not just complaints. There's a lot of complainers out there. That distinction is important. It's very easy to walk into a legislative office and tell somebody what is wrong. The harder part is answering the next question. What do you want us to do about it? PART intends to have an answer to that question. This year, that work took us all the way to Washington, D.C. PART joined advocacy efforts there and met with congressional offices about issues affecting chronic pain patients. These meetings were important for several reasons. First, patients were being represented directly. Their concerns were not simply being discussed somewhere outside the room. Second, we were not there simply to shake hands, take photographs, and go home. We were there to build relationships, and we have built them. Some of the congressional offices we contact asked us to remain in communication and continue providing updates. Some have asked us to provide legislative language. That is exactly the kind of progress we want. One meeting does not change federal policy, but one meeting can open a door. And once that door is open, you keep walking through it. Here in Texas, we've been working to bring chronic pain issues further into the political conversation. That work has included involvement in the Texas political process and efforts to make sure issues involving chronic pain treatment and federal overreach are no longer invisible. Chronic pain related language advanced through that process, and two chronic pain related planks ultimately became part of the state Republican Party platform for Texas. That may sound technical to some people watching tonight, but it matters. Political platforms help establish what issues party members, candidates, lawmakers, and activists are being asked to pay attention to. Every time chronic pain patients move from being ignored into an official policy discussion, progress has been made. Not enough progress, but progress. Another, I want to say also that this is the grassroots, and this is where you start. Chronic pain should be a nonpartisan issue, and we actually have composed resolutions that could be introduced to both parties. We've searched for somebody to introduce it in the Democratic Party, and so far in Texas, we haven't found that person. But now, over the next 2 years, hopefully we will. We did introduce it in 3 different precincts in Texas in the Republican Party. They all advanced to the senatorial district level. And from the senatorial district level, all 3 senatorial districts adopted it and moved it forward to the state level. And that and the interaction of, let me name names here, Page and Barry, interacting with the resolutions committee got language in the Texas Republican Party platform in two planks that support our efforts with P.A.R.T. Texas. Also, that process allowed us, when we went to Washington, D.C., we didn't go unarmed because of that. We targeted 9 congressmen who had congressional districts that overlapped with those 3 senatorial districts that passed the resolution, so that we were able to go into their office and say, the delegates in your congressional district asked you to do something about this issue. And that made all the difference, not just going in cold, but being able to build on that foundation. And we were warmly received. And in fact, one office kept us there for almost an hour talking about the issue. Another area that's becoming increasingly important to us is engagement with medical boards and state agencies. For years, patients have talked among themselves about doctors being afraid to prescribe. Doctors have talked about uncertainty. Patients have talked about losing access. People have talked about regulations being misunderstood or treated more rigidly than they were intended. Eventually, those conversations have to leave social media. They have to reach the agencies that are involved. And this is part of our next stage. P.A.R.T. Texas has begun engaging with the Texas Medical Board and looking more closely at how we can participate constructively in discussions involving chronic pain management, physician practice, and patient access. We are fortunate to have people on our board with medical backgrounds who can bring knowledge and professional experience to those conversations. And we are fortunate to have people who are willing to ask difficult questions. Going forward, we intend to expand that work, not only with the Texas Medical Board, but with other appropriate state agencies whose decisions affect chronic pain patients. Our position is very simple. If decisions are being made that affects patients, then patients should have a meaningful voice in that conversation. I'll also say we have had conversations, informal meetings, I would say, with at least 2 state legislators who have expressed interest in filing or even pledged to file our bills in the Texas State Legislature in the upcoming 90th legislative session. These are the ways that you really make a difference. And all of this, by the way, has been done in 1 year. Imagine if some of the, and I'm not trying to be critical, but there are other organizations out there that have been around for almost a decade. And if they'd accomplished this, where could we be today? All right. So legislation and regulation are only part of this work. Public understanding matters too. P.A.R.T's created educational materials. We've produced brochures. We've created videos. We've written informational and advocacy materials. We've written social media. We've used social media to challenge misinformation and explain what chronic pain patients are actually experiencing. Those materials have traveled into places we couldn't personally be. They've been taken into legislative offices. They've reached medical professionals. They've been placed in hospitals and waiting rooms. They've been shared between advocates and patients. Every brochure somebody hands to another person is another opportunity to start a conversation. Every video that reaches somebody who had never thought about this issue before is another opportunity. We've also built communication systems designed to help people participate rather than simply watch P.A.R.T. USA as now a national text alert system. People can sign up for national information and state-specific alerts as those systems are developed. Those alerts can be used for legislative updates, policy developments, calls to action, and other important patient and advocates need to know. That matters because advocacy cannot work if people find out about legislation after the vote has already happened. Perhaps one of the largest projects ahead of us is the development of P.A.R.T chapters across the country. The goal is not simply to place the P.A.R.T name in every state. That would be easy. You could just, create a Facebook group for each state. But building functional organizations is much harder. A real chapter needs leadership, it needs accountability, it needs organization, it needs people who understand advocacy. It needs people who understand the state that they're working in. It needs the ability to engage its legislature. It needs the ability to engage its medical board and state agencies. It needs support when something goes wrong. That is what P.A.R.T USA is working to build. P.A.R.T New York is already in development. Other states are moving through various stages of preparation, and we are developing the packets, onboarding systems, leadership structures, advocacy materials, and organizational tools necessary to make those chapters sustainable. This reason this matters is simple. Someone in another state should not have to spend 10 years learning every lesson we already learned the difficult way. We can give them a framework. They can begin further ahead. Then they can adapt the framework to their own state and begin doing the work locally. That's how a national organization becomes a national movement. And that brings me something that is going to become increasingly important: membership. Membership is not simply about money. Of course, financial support allows organizations to operate, and we are deeply grateful to the people who choose paid membership or make donations. But membership has another purpose that is every bit as important. Numbers create representation. When an organization walks into a legislative office, eventually somebody asks, how many people do you represent? When you speak to an agency, the size of the community behind you matters, sometimes as a matter of law. And when you approach another organization about collaboration, membership matters. When somebody tries to dismiss a problem as something affecting only a handful of people, numbers speak. That is why P.A.R.T offers free membership as well as paid levels. A person should not have to have extra money to stand with this movement. If somebody believes in this message, in this mission, we want them counted. If somebody says, yes, chronic pain patients deserve appropriate treatment, yes, doctors and patients should be able to make individualized medical decisions, yes, I believe patients deserve a voice, then we want that person standing with us. The larger that membership becomes, the harder this community becomes to ignore. So where do we go from here? We keep building. We continue developing legislation. We continue establishing a relationship with lawmakers at the state and federal levels. We continue engaging with medical boards and state agencies. We continue developing state chapters. We continue building membership. We continue educating the public. We continue challenging misinformation. We continue developing relationships with physicians, nurses, pharmacists, advocates, patients, families, and organizations willing to work for meaningful change. As we continue to bring patient voices directly into the places where decisions are made, there will be setbacks. Anybody who understands legislation knows that. Bills fail. Elections change things. Agency leadership changes. Political priorities shift. Sometimes you spend months working on something and have to begin again in the next legislative session. But that is the nature of this work. You do not stop because something is difficult. You learn, you adjust, and you keep going back. 1 year ago, P.A.R.T Texas existed primarily as an idea and a willingness to try something different. Today, that idea has begun reaching lawmakers, medical boards, congressional offices, patients' families, medical professionals, advocates, and communities well beyond Texas. That happened because people were willing to work. It happens because people joined. It happened because people volunteered. It happened because people shared information. It happened because people supported the organization. And it happened because patients who had already been ignored far too many times decided they were not going to remain silent. We are proud of what has been accomplished, but we are not satisfied. There is far too much left to do. Part Texas has completed its first year. Now we build the next one. And Part USA will continue carrying the mission across the country. Thank you. Chris, I turn the program back over to you.
Thanks, James. What you guys have heard just represents an extraordinary amount of work in just a very short period of time. And I want to stress the fact that some of the things that James said, one of the most important things that we can do is reach out to each other and advertise and get membership and get people involved. When we stay silent and we don't reach out to one another and share ideas or have egos or anything like that in this fight, we only hurt ourselves. So it's very important that we work together, and the more people that we can reach out to and get involved, share what we are learning here in part and how the process works and how to implement that process, we'll all be better off. The most important part of what James just described is that none of it happens without people. Organizations do not walk into legislative offices, people do. Organizations do not comfort patients, people do. Organizations do not sit up late researching an issue, answering a frightened person's phone call, write a letter, testify, make a video, challenge a policy, or refusal to give up. People do. And that brings us to the next part of tonight's program. Because some people give an extraordinary amount of themselves to this work, and sometimes we do not stop long enough to tell them what that has meant. Kitty has thought about that for a long time. Kitty, I'll bring this back to you.
Thank you very much, Chris. I really appreciate that. I have believed for a very long time that people who do this kind of work should be recognized while they are still here to hear it. And that I mean very literally. We have a habit as human beings of saying beautiful things after someone is gone. We talk about how much they meant. We talk about everything they've accomplished. We've talked about how many people they've helped. We tell stories, we cry, we say, I wish they knew. And I have always thought, why did we wait? Why did we not tell them? Why did we not show them? Why did we not make certain they understood that those sacrifices they made actually meant something? Advocacy is hard. Sometimes it is brutally hard. It can cost you time. It can cost you money. It can cost and affect your health. It can affect your marriage. It can affect your children. It can take time away from people that you love. It can expose you to criticism from people who have no idea what you are actually doing behind the scenes. And sometimes the very people you are trying to help can become angry with you. They can complain about you, they can say hurtful things, and sometimes even those reach your family. And still, there are those people who wake up the next morning and continue helping anyway. That is extraordinary to me. When I first began thinking about creating a meaningful recognition for advocacy, I did not know whether I would ever find somebody who truly, who would truly represent everything I believed in that a recognition should stand for. I was not looking for anybody famous. I was not looking for perfection. Perfect people just do not exist. I was looking for somebody who gave themselves to this work. Somebody who kept helping, even when helping came at a personal cost. Sometimes when they continued, when their own body was telling them just to stop. Somebody who continued even when people were not kind to them. Somebody who had been complained about a lot. Somebody who had been hurt. Somebody whose family may have even had to heard some of those hurtful things. And yet, none of it stopped the person from answering the next call, protecting the child, working on the next piece of legislation, supporting the next advocate. I honestly did not know whether I would ever find that person. Then one day I walked into another Facebook group. By that point, I had already been introducing P.A.R.T in other groups, and I had learned to expect something. I would introduce who we were. I would talk about legislation. I would talk about politics. I would explain that if government policy helped create these problems, then eventually government policy was going to have to change them permanently to fix them. And more often than once, that was enough to get me removed, banned. Politics is too decisive to consider, they say. Legislation was considered too controversial. Or perhaps another organization simply was not welcomed. So when I walked into this particular Facebook group and made another introduction, I was almost waiting for that same thing to happen again. I was waiting to get kicked out. I was waiting to get banned. I was waiting to be told, we do not talk about that in here. But this time, something different happened. Instead of somebody pushing me out, somebody reached out. Instead of treating us like competition, somebody opened their arms. Instead of asking why we were here, somebody wanted to know why we were and who we were and what we were trying to accomplish. That was no territorial behavior. There was no, this is our fight, stay out of it. There was support, there was encouragement, there was, I'm glad somebody is stepping up in Texas. And I even thought, I did not know at times, but with absolute certainty in that exact first moment, it did not take me long before I started wondering, did I find him? Did I actually find the person I had imagined when I thought about what recognition was supposed to mean? The more I learned, the more I believed I had. And that removed every doubt I had when I met him in person. Without question, I had found the right person. That person is Bob Sheeran. Bob did not welcome P.A.R.T because there was something in it for him. He welcomed us because there was another organization willing to fight for patients. That was enough. He offered help. He offered guidance. He introduced us to people. He helped us gain exposure. He supported what we were building. And as I learned more about him, I began learning how many times he had done the same thing for somebody else. Patients, families, children, advocates, people who felt ignored, people who needed somebody in their corner, people who could not navigate the system by themselves, and sometimes people who could give him absolutely nothing in return. Bob helped anyway. He continued doing it while dealing with struggles of his own. That is what mattered to me. Not perfection, not popularity, not whether everybody agreed with him, not whether somebody or somewhere had something negative to say. The question was much simpler. When people needed him, did he show up? Again and again, the answer was yes. And that is where tonight's next chapter begins. Because now I do not want you to simply to hear what I think about Bob. I want Bob to hear from the people who know him, the people who love him, the people who have watched him do this work, the people whose lives he has touched. Chris, I'm turning this back over to you.
Thanks, Kitty. Bob, I suspect at this point you may be realizing that there is more considerably going on tonight than anybody told you. For this next part of the ceremony, you do not need to do anything. You do not need to prepare anything. You do not need to explain anything. You simply need to listen, because there are people here who have been waiting for this opportunity to tell you what they mean to them. And we are going to begin with the people who know you better than anyone else, your family. Amanda, Bob's wife, is going to speak. Our first family speaker is Amanda. Amanda has seen the side of advocacy that the public rarely sees. She has seen the calls, the time, the worry, the frustration, the sacrifices, the victories, and everything that happens after everybody else goes home. Amanda, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Already got me in tears. He's been such an amazing husband. He just helps anybody and everybody that calls and asks him. Half the time I don't even see him, and I deliver mail. That's just what I do. So whenever he tells me, "Hey, I'm going here," he just goes, and I just support it. And he calls me and tells me how it goes, and it's just what we do. That's how we live. Is there anything else I need to do? Y'all have me in tears.
No, I can go ahead
No,
and bring up the next person.
Okay.
thank you, Amanda. Um, I'm sure, we all have things to say to Bob that we think about all the time, but it's hard once you get the spotlight. And
Right.
so I know there's a lot more that people want to say, but we just wanted to know that we truly appreciate who he is and what he does, because as everybody in the PAN community can see, there's not a whole lot of people that put their money where their mouth is, and their mouth is where money is. And so you constantly see that with Bob.
Yep.
Even though I've never met Bob in person, we've had our interactions online, and I just know he's a fighter, and he's a real one. So we all appreciate him, and so I'm going to move on to Mindy, which is Bob and Amanda's daughter, who wanted to speak as well.
Okay. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Sure.
I got the wrong person up.
Okay, mute me.
Give it just a second. There's a delay on YouTube for them to see. Almost there. It is there now. Chris, these are the ones that you will read out.
Okay.
If you can't see it, I can.
Give me just a minute.
No problem.
So is Mindy not going to speak?
No, this is so the people on the cards are the ones that have more or less written a statement.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So let's see. So who do we got
And
here?
and these are their verbatim words, more or less what they wrote.
Can you go? I'm reading this on my phone. Can you go ahead and read these for me?
Sure. This is from Mindy. This is Bob, and I'm assuming Amanda's daughter. To an amazing dad. I am so proud of you for all your accomplishments. I am very lucky to see my dad help other children in need. It influenced me to become someone who can also help others, and that is amazing skill to have. You've talked about wanting to grow your platform for the better good for years, and you've accomplished a lot. I knew the moment you were going to visit your first client that you only grow even further. You deserve the recognition, and I'm glad you have such an amazing community surrounding you. So grateful, so blessed. I love you, Mindy. Who do you have on next screen? Or do you want me just to take here?
I can't read the print, so if you could just read it for me.
Not a problem. All right. All right, I gotta find. There we go. Okay. I'm waiting for it to pop up on YouTube. Dear Bob, I haven't known you even for 6 months yet, but something about you when we first connected via Facebook, I trusted immediately, and so much of what you've told me about the plans being made for the Washington trip for pain patients, I signed on immediately. Took your advice on the Yodo Hotel and made a flight arrangement. I never doubted you or what you advocated for. You are the most caring, sincere, and fun yet funny guy I have had a chance to meet. You deserve every great thing to come to you, and you don't deserve to suffer yourself as much as you do for hurting kids and everyone else. If not for you, Mark, Christine, Johanna, Kitty, and who I knew I meet in Washington, I would have never had the courage to do something like that. But I am so glad I did, and I have not looked back. Thank you for all you do. Deb Lewis and her son Jeremy. Bob, I got on social media years ago looking for support, information, and to inform people that did not understand. And I apologize, I forgot that YouTube takes a minute to update. All right, well, wait, let's try this again so I can see. All right. I got on social media years ago looking for support, information, and to inform people that didn't understand what was happening to patients and HCWs. I found that also I wanted to talk to people that were living with similar lives. Bob was one of the first people I came across. He was funny and kind. When I first freaked out by some people attacking advocates and patients, he was reassuring, supportive, and stood up against people being mean, all while going through so much. He actually made me feel useful, even though I was commenting online and reposting things I thought would help. He convinced me to keep trying, even when I didn't think I could anymore. Watching him do so much made it easier to take the suffering and keep trying. A little too fast for me. Higgin, my apologies. He convinced me that he's drunk. Okay. When the pain started affecting my blood pressure and the Parkinson's, I was ready to give up. But Bob convinced me to come to DC. If he could do it, I could do it. I had been homebound for 9 years since my meds were drastically lowered, and the only meds that helped the spasm in my face were stopped, leading to more burning and electrical shooting pain. Where are you going? He convinced me to ask for temporary increase to get to DC. I take methadone, 30 milligrams, muscle relaxers, low dose ketamine, and have a pump. I was able to come to DC and also see my kids and grandkids in Virginia. I was too fearful of risking what I get to ask before, since no other doctor was willing to take me when my doctor retired. The rarity of some of my biggest issues meant doctors didn't want to risk it. I always admired Bob and what he does, and I always will. Thanks for everything you do. Thanks for helping me when my friends needed help. Thanks for everyone you helped. Thanks for the encouragement. Thanks for being you. And that is from Jackie Kathleen Walker Meckler and Bob Meckler, her husband.
Is that the last one we got?
Nope, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob. Over the 4 years, I came across APDF group. At first, I was pulled into it by Bob's jokes, the funny man. I would make comments on his posts, then I really started to pay attention to the advocacy part. He would post about helping pain patients. I was already helping patients quietly. So we started talking, and I asked if I could help in any way. I did. And it made me feel like like someone else believed in me when I had been just crapped on. He makes you feel better when he's going through something worse. I love him like a brother, and I appreciate him forever. Bob, you are the best, and you know it. Love, always, Christine Matheson. Oops. Bob, there are some people who come into your life and leave mark that you can never fully put into words. Bob is one of those people. At one of the lowest points in my journey with chronic pain, Bob sent me the name of a doctor. It may have seemed like a simple message, but that message changed the course of my life. It gave me hope when I desperately needed it, and I truly believe Bob helped save my life. Since then, he has become so much more than a fellow advocate. He has become a mentor and a friend and someone I genuinely look up to. He encouraged me to find my own voice in advocacy and has taught me that advocacy isn't just about speaking up. It's about showing up, especially when it's hard. And Bob knows what means to keep showing up. I've watched him endure relentless online criticism and personal attacks that would have broken many people. I've watched him continue this work while facing serious health challenges of his own, including heart problems and blood cancer. Yet somehow he continues to power through and ask, who can I help next? But I also know Bob doesn't do this alone. I want to thank his wife and his children for the sacrifices, patience, love, and support they give. Advocacy takes time, energy, and pieces of a person that their family willingly shares with the rest of us. Without the people standing behind Bob and supporting him, he couldn't do everything he does. His family deserves to be recognized as part of the difference he has made in so many lives. Bob, thank you for your helping save mine. Thank you for mentoring me, believing in me, and showing me what perseverance and advocacy look like. Most of all, thank you for being my friend. I am incredibly proud of you, and I cannot think of anyone more deserving of this recognition. Congratulations, my friend. You've earned it. Tony Collins. To my friend Bob, I don't even know how long or how many years Bob called me asking me to join APDF team to advocate with him. I refused many times, but he was he was persistent. That was from the beginning of an amazing friendship forming. We've laughed hysterically and cried together many times, discussed patients and personal family issues. I've literally yelled at him and hung up on him and pushing himself when he needed to be home getting well, but refused. He had the most beautiful heart and soul when it comes to his kids' cases. We've laughed and cried together many times over the children and our DC trips. He stopped in to talk, and I opened the door, and I'd stand there. We don't need anyone thinking anything's going on. We bursted out laughing. I called him from the convenience store across from the hotel because I knew I was about to be robbed, and Bob came to rescue me. We've shared something unbelievably stressful, some moments together. I've called him crying hysterically over a personal matter, and he sat and listened and talked to me just like a brother that he is to one. I generally cannot imagine my life without Bob. He has done so many things for the children, and throughout it, we've supported one another 100%. A true friend is one who walks in when the rest of the world walks out. Love you, Bob. Shirley Buck. Shannon, are you here? Okay. Don't know if she showed up tonight or not. Okay. And Mark, did you want to speak now or did you want to wait till afterwards? I'll leave that to you.
Hello, This is Mark Ibsen. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Hey, Bob. I love you like a brother. No, no, I haven't loved my brothers all that great. So I love you more than a brother. Um, and I thought this was somebody's funeral when I stumbled on it, but we must be talking about the real person, the real live Bob Sheeran. So, Bob, I have something for you, um, and it's just a little song. So bear with me. On the day Bob was born, on the day Bob was born, on the day Bob was born, the angels sang and they blew on their horns and they danced. Yes, they danced. They smiled and raised up their hands on the day that Bob was born. Thank you for everything you do and every ounce of your authentic being. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. All right, next. Well, Chris, it does go back to you, but I'll let you just say it. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's get the square string back up anyway.
Yeah, I can take it. Just want to say thanks to everybody that took their time to be here and you know, said something that was touching to Bob here. I know he appreciates it. And you know, we're not in it really to give thanks to ourselves, but sometimes it's appropriate and it needs to be reinforced that you know, we really share this appreciation for one another and we have each other's backs, especially because a lot of us are going through difficult times, and it's just really important to show some love and let people know that they're out here for you. So, Bob, everything you've heard tonight represents only a tiny fraction of the people your work has touched. There are people who may never have the opportunity to tell you
Stop. Sorry, Chris.
personally what they did for them. There are families that you help through moments they'll never forget. There are patients who remember that sometime that someone listened, and there are advocates who kept going because someone else was willing to stand beside them. And now, before we move into the final presentation, we have something special to show you. Go ahead, Kitty.
No.
And of course, I had to go flying off topic there. Bob, there is one thing everybody knows and who eventually learns. You have a saying, and anybody who has been around you long enough has probably heard it. It ain't over until they throw dirt. There's something about that saying that captures you. Because no matter what has happened, no matter how hard you tried and how you've been, no matter how many times the system has disappointed you, no matter how many times you have had every reason to stop, you kept going. That saying became the inspiration for something I wanted to create especially for you. I wrote you a tribute song called It Ain't Over Until They Throw Dirt. The song is about you. It's about advocacy. It's about legislation. It's about the patients. It's about the children. It's about families. And it's about the people you have stood up for. It's about the people you have protected. And it's about the torch you have passed to the rest of us to help carry it with you now. And eventually to be strong enough to hold that torch on our own. Along with the song, we have collected photographs and memories from you throughout the years. Some will make you smile, some may make you emotional, but every one of them represents a piece of your story. Bob, this is for you.
I sent that to Shirley.
Piano. Bo. It's my puppy. Hey, my puppy. It's Gino.
Yeah.
There's Ann. Noah.
Oh,
Here's my baby. Grams. Throwback. There's my girl. David.
wow.
Vanderbilt. Most people's version. And he couldn't get off the couch.
Mr. Crow.
Jenny. It's Vicky. We walked so many miles on that trip. We almost killed Cheryl. It was a protest, 2022.
No.
It's you and your mama's Billy. There's my Shannon. Oh, snort, snort. Kathy. It's my girl right there. I know that old guy. He works that. So James. Brown. Oh wow, that's a throwback. I had hair then.
Bob, I have heard people say that sometimes you don't realize the effect you have on others. So tonight we wanted to make sure there was no question. When I first met you, I had already experienced something that had become incredibly frustrating. I had entered advocacy groups and introduced what we were building. I talked about legislation. I talked about politics. I talked about the fact that whether people liked it or not, many of the problems chronic pain patients were facing were created or reinforced through government policy. And that meant permanent change was eventually going to have to require political and legislative action. That message was not always welcome. I was removed from groups. I was told politics were too decisive. And I encountered people who acted as though another organization entering the fight somehow threatened their own work. Then I entered the American Pain and Disability Foundation community, and I met you. You did not treat me like competition. You did not tell me to stay in my lane. You did not tell me that Texas belonged to somebody else. You asked who we were, you asked what we were trying to do, and you opened your arms. You told me that you were glad to see somebody fighting in Texas. You offered help, you offered support, you gave advice, you helped expose people to what we were building, and you did it without asking what it was in it for you. And that told me something about you. As I learned more about your history and the more I understood, you had been fighting for patients. You have been fighting for children. You have been fighting for families. You have been involved with legislation. You have helped people who were desperate. You have answered calls when other people would not. You had stepped up into situations where there was nothing personally to gain and plenty to lose. And you had done it while dealing with your own pain, your own health, your own family obligations, and your own struggles. At the end of the day, Bob, nobody forced you to do any of this. You didn't have to. You chose to. And then you choose it again and again and again. Even when you were tired, even when you were angry, even when you were disappointed, even when your body was telling you that you needed to stop, even when you had every reason to say, I'm done, you kept going. And believe me, I understand that feeling of wanting to say, I'm done. That is one of the reasons this means so much to me. Because people who do this work deserve to know that somebody noticed. I noticed. They noticed. We all noticed. They deserve to know that the sacrifice was not invisible. They deserve more than a private thank you. They deserve more than a social media comment. They deserve to be told clearly and publicly, your work matters. Your life matters. Your sacrifice matters. The people you have helped mattered, and we saw it. When I first dreamed of creating this award, I did not know whose name would be on it. I only knew the kind of person I was supposed to have it represent. Then I met you, and I knew. Bob, tonight you are not simply receiving an award. Your name is becoming part of it. From this night forward, this national recognition will be known as P.A.R.T. USA's the Robert Sharon Pain Awareness and Patient Advocacy Award. And the future recipients will receive it in your honor. They will receive it because they have demonstrated the kind of courage, compassion, advocacy, sacrifice, and service that you have shown. Your name will continue forward every time another deserving advocate is recognized. And maybe one day we will present this award in Washington, D.C. Maybe one day we'll stand in a room filled with advocates, lawmakers, patients, and families and tell another person, you carried the spirit of what Bob Sharon represented. But there can only ever be one first recipient, and that recipient is you. Tonight is not about celebrating suffering. It's not about glorifying pain. It's not about pretending that anyone should have to go through what patients in this country have endured. It is about recognizing someone who experienced his own struggles and still chooses to reach out a hand to somebody else. Bob, you have helped more people than you know already probably know. You have helped this organization. You have helped me. You have mentored me. You have been like a big brother. And you have reminded people that this fight is not finished. You passed us the torch. We'll help carry it with you. And when the day comes that we have to carry it on our own, we will be ready because of what you taught us. And as you have said so many times before, it ain't over until they throw dirt. Bob, it is my honor to present to you the first ever Robert Sharon Pain Awareness Patient Advocacy Award. Amanda, at this time, would you and the family please present Bob with this award?
Give me that.
The inscription reads, P.A.R.T. USA's the Robert Sharon Pain Awareness Patient Advocacy Award presented to Robert Sharon, first recipient. In recognition of his courage, compassion, and lifelong dedication to chronic pain patients, children, families, and those whose voices too often go unheard, you pass us the torch, we will carry the flame. It ain't over until they throw dirt. Presented August 8th of 2026. Bob, congratulations, and thank you for everything you have done for us.
Oh my God. Wow. And I'd be remiss the people that hold
The
on.
spotlight's yours.
Hold on. Wow.
Oh, look at Mark. Hey, Mark. Hey, Shirley.
I'd I'd be remiss to Cheryl, Mark, Kitty, James, all of you here, people who spoke. That's that's amazing, and
Beautiful.
it's gorgeous, and you don't know what that means to me. Uh, I'll share this award with all of you. Uh, that's something.
It finally happened. Bob is speechless.
I don't even know what to say, and it's always been a team. It's always been. Wow. Thank you guys so much. You don't that means a lot to me, and yeah, I'm very speechless. That's gorgeous. And
It's heavy.
Put it up.
Oh, is it heavy? I didn't get to have seen it.
Yay.
It's
Oh wow,
beautiful.
okay, it
It's
came
beautiful.
out.
It did. You did a great job.
Well, if
Thank
we're a
you.
team, you're Vince Lombardi.
hardly, I don't.
In better lighting, I'll get a good picture with him with it.
That's amazing, and this means more than anything I've ever gotten. Uh, and like I said, I'll definitely accept it, and I accept it for the team and the people that stayed along the way,
And for future recipients.
and for future people who get it. It's I don't even know what to say. That's amazing.
It's so sweet.
Cheryl, this is for you too, baby. You know, we've been through so much. Mark, I don't know what I'd do without you. Uh, and,
Mark's
and,
looking hot.
and all the people that
Thank you.
You're welcome.
and all the people that from Texas Part who got so much accomplished this year. And we lost Leah. Uh, Leah was a solid advocate in Texas. And when all seemed lost in Texas, we found Texas Part. And you guys have done an amazing job. I mean, a year and what you've accomplished is you went to where we were and you passed it, you surpassed it. And you don't know what that means to me. You don't know how many calls that Cheryl and I have gotten over the years from Texas. And make it better. Make it better for every state because we have to.
Shannon.
Yes, we do.
There's something we have to do. We have to keep going until they do throw dirt on us. They threw dirt on a lot of the people that aren't here today. Jeff, um, people we lost recently, and of course, people David Finn, the wrongfully accused guy who didn't deserve what he got, and he got punished in the same way I did. Uh, and people don't realize until it happens to you that how wrong it was. But this means the world to me, and I can't thank you guys enough. That's absolutely incredible.
I have somebody that popped in late who wanted to speak, and so I'm going to give her the floor real quick because I know it's very important that she also has her say, and she wanted to do it live.
I'm guessing that's me.
Yes, it is, ma'am.
I am so sorry. I actually fell asleep, which never happens. And then when I woke up, I realized that it was going, and I was like, I hope it's not over. Because you're right, it is very important that I get to give my 5 cents, because we don't have pennies anymore, so it's got to be a nickel, Bob.
I'll give you change.
I just wanted you to know, last year in September, I lost my doctor. He was forcibly retired because of some really crappy restructuring financially within their company. And I'm a pump patient. So I had 30 days to find a new person. And of course, she who shall not be named was who spoke the loudest, and that's where I went. And I was immediately told, find yourself your own help. And so I kept searching, and I found you guys, and I found your Washington trip, and I immediately knew that this was something that I wanted to be a part of, because these were people that were not just talking, they were putting their money where their mouth is. And being part of that trip and getting to meet you guys, and just the camaraderie that was instant, and the family that was instant, the community that was instant. It was effortless. We all just came together, and I feel like you're the linchpin of all of that. You really are a leader just by being yourself. And that is so rare these days, to find somebody who is just doing the damn thing and inspiring everybody else to do the damn thing too, just by doing it. And you gave me purpose, you gave me hope, you gave me a belief that my pain had purpose, which I had been struggling with for quite a while, trying to figure out why I was going through everything that I was going through. But you showed me that it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be a personal pity party. It can be look at what I've got, look at what I've learned. How can I turn that around and make it something that helps other people? And I really do hope to be part of APDF and be part of your life until we throw the dirt, which better be a damn 20 or 30 years from now, because no one in this group is ready for that dirt to come any sooner. So I just wanted you to know that, I mean, you really have changed my life. Like, it's not a small thing at all. Uh, to say that I now wake up every day and feel like I have purpose, instead of waking up every day and going, shit, I woke up again, which is where I was at. Not wanting to end my life, but if it had ended, I wouldn't have been sad. Now I would be sad, because I believe that I'm here to do something bigger than myself. And you gave me that, and Kitty gave me that. And I'm just grateful to be part of something so much bigger than myself, that not only exists, but puts its money where its mouth is. That proves that it's doing the damn thing.
And you give great hugs too.
Thank you.
Yes, she does. Thank you,
I-
Shannon, for your comments. Go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry.
Getting to meet all of you, you know, I always think it's important for an organization to know one another. You know, I think Cheryl and I have really, we really want to know our people, because it brings you closer. It brings more trust. It brings more admiration. It brings something more. It makes it real. And it makes it real. It makes it unique. And all the people that Cheryl and I have got to meet along the way, and Andrew and I have got to meet along the way, and it's just amazing. And the founders of this organization, you know, we had no idea where we were going. Cheryl and Dr. Mims both, you know, the first kid was kind of a fluke because I burnt my hand. And the second child begged me for a month after the newspaper article came out in Nashville. and it's been 505 children now. And it turned into an obsession. And it gives me purpose and makes me want to stay alive. And then Cheryl with her vets, that means a lot to me. My son. Damn, you guys are gonna make me cry now. Thank you guys so much. You don't know what this means to me. I thought I was gonna watch a damn movie and see what you guys did, and then it's like now I feel like where the hell did you hide that thing? It weighs 35 pounds. And that's just amazing. It's just that's amazing.
Well, it wasn't easy hiding a secret from you. I literally threatened everybody. You reveal this to Bob, you're all dead. It was so hard to keep it from you for so long. When me and James started this, I had been doing political work for years, and I see how hard that work is, and it's just nowhere near what we're facing as pain patients. And how they just always are constantly patting themselves on the back and everything. And I'm just sitting there like, these people are patting themselves on the back for like some really bad laws. Like, what the heck? And told my husband, I said, no, you know what? We're gonna start, a national organization. I want a national award. And, my husband was like, okay, well, what about? And I'm like, because I want to recognize those people out there who really have sacrificed down in the dirt and nobody knows it. And they you keep everybody together. Even when we've argued, we fought, so like that, you come back in just like, oh, come on now, y'all, let's be happy here. And, and you've pulled us back in, and, you've just kept us together, and you just have one of those, hearts of gold. And no, I know you're not perfect. Nobody is on this planet, but you're pretty darn close.
Perfect.
Well, I know that we're a diverse group, but Bob has this magic of being able to remind people who they are. Because like when we had our little bit of rough patch in DC, and I immediately I got kind of upset, and I wanted to walk away from it. But it was you guys who pulled me back in and went, you came here for a reason. Do that reason. Don't let anybody stop you, because you were driven to join this all on your own from the beginning, and nothing should be able to stop you because that's who you are. And so I came right back in with your support, and I finished the job. And
Yeah,
that's not something everybody can do.
No, it's not. It is very hard work. A lot of pain patients out there feel that they can't, and then there are a lot of people out there who can't. But there are those of us who can, and we push hard. And this Bob, this award carries your name because your work deserves to be kept spoken long after tonight's over. You have helped patients, you have helped children, you have helped families, you have helped advocates, and you have helped organizations like ours. You've opened doors, you've given advice, you've offered support, and you gave people courage when they needed it. Tonight, we made sure you heard it. To Amanda and your family, thank you for sharing him with so many people. Thank you for the sacrifices you have made behind the scenes that others may never fully understand. To everyone who spoke tonight, submitted a message, sent photographs, sent videos, helped put the ceremony together, we thank you. And to every patient, family member, advocate, supporter, and person watching tonight, the work is definitely not over. P.A.R.T. Texas is now completed its first year, and P.A.R.T. USA is carrying that mission beyond Texas. And we intend to keep fighting for a healthcare system where patients are heard, doctors are allowed, and treat the individual patient in front of them. And people living with pain are treated with dignity rather than suspicion.
Yeah.
Bob, We will continue to help carry that torch until you pass it on permanently. We will help carry it with you always. And when the day comes that we must carry it on our own, we will carry it forward. And it ain't over until they throw dirt. I love you so much.
I love you guys. And I got to tell you, Cheryl, we went to DC and we came out of there, and she says, if we get rid of MME, that would cause them not to be able to use the NARC score at the state level.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? They couldn't put that into the. We were home for about 5 minutes. We recruited an attorney. We did everything we can, and I mean, we did the drive where you learn little tricks. People were walking by the table. They were charging $5 for water. We sent Andrew up to get 40 cases of water, and we started cooling them down. We had a line that went, almost a half a mile long, and people were coming to sign our petition, not even knowing really what it was. Healthy people that just didn't know because we didn't get the media attention. And as they came up to the table, we explained to them kids weren't getting treated, people weren't getting treated. People were so respectful, and what do you mean they're not getting treated? They don't know because the media won't put it out there. And if they ever did, and if they ever see these children curled up in the fetal position screaming, they would understand that this is going on in America. And, we're going to make them understand that. And when they see it's children, when they see it's the veterans that are, I've seen Cheryl talk people down from veterans blowing their heads off. I've seen Mark take somebody who was ready to die the next day. I've seen that stuff. I seen the guy that got shorted at the pharmacy put a 9mm to his head and took his head off. I've seen a lot of things that makes me think you're going to throw dirt on me before I stop. Thank you guys so much. You have no idea what this means to me, Cheryl, to the foundation, Texas Park USA, all of you guys. That was just amazing. Wasn't expecting it. You guys brought me to tears. No one does that. And you made me speechless, like Mark says. No one does that either. Mandy goes, I cried about that. So, thank you guys. You're amazing. We'll keep it up and we'll keep going. James keeps writing them bills. We'll keep turning them in, and we'll go like a bat out of hell. We have this. I mean, this is. We'll recruit more groups. We'll get more people. We're the only ones that can get 100 people to a protest. We're the only ones that can do that kind of stuff, and we're going to keep doing it with everybody's help. We're all one.
Yep, they sure are. So, Chris, I'm
Thank
going to throw the final end back to you.
It's so good to finally meet you, Chris. I've heard so much about you.
You too, buddy. Been watching everybody. The community is kind of sometimes struggling, personally, and then as a whole, with infighting and everybody kind of not. I never sense it from this group, but we all kind of know what I'm talking about, where it's an ego trip for a lot of people, and that's not what this is about at all. And so we just want to share our purpose and our message with everybody and gain awareness, and also share the path forward James has pretty much put a roadmap out for us to get this stuff done, and it's just a matter of staying positive and staying representing the part and spreading the message and spreading the roadmap. And so as long as we keep doing that, we're going to be successful sooner or later. So again, it was good to meet you, Bob. Someday we'll meet in person. I'll wrap it up here. Thanks, Kitty. Thanks, James, for everything. Once again, congratulations, Bob, first recipient of the P.A.R.T. USA Robert Sheeran Pain Awareness and Pain Patient Advocacy Award. Thank you, Amanda, Mindy, Bob's family, every speaker, every contributor, and everyone who joined us tonight. Congratulations as well to P.A.R.T. Texas on its first anniversary. And on behalf of P.A.R.T. USA and P.A.R.T. Texas, thank you for being part of this very special evening. And as P.A.R.T. always says, your voice, your story, our power. Good night, everyone.
Love you
Good
guys.
night. Love you guys.
Love
Thank
you
you,
guys
guys.
too.
Love
Take
you.
care.
Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you. I love you guys. Love you, sis. Love you, brother.